Hello and welcome to Kicking Tires. My name is Jimmy,
And I'm Justin.
and today we got some sad news. Earlier today, Sabine Schmitz. If you don't know who she is the Nürburgring Queen. She passed away earlier today at the age of 51 after losing a battle with cancer. So, unfortunately, some sad news to start off the day, but we do have a lot of sports events to talk about. So, let's dive into it. The first one is the Stinger.
This car, I mean, the Stinger, when this came out, that was a game changer for Kia. Everyone got all the young people excited. And then it kind of fell off a bit after maybe a year or two. But now we've got a refresh.
Yeah, so we have a brand new refresh, well, not brand new, just a refresh for 2022. One of the first things you're going to notice is the brand new Kia emblem on the front here. So you don't get that older, like round Kia emblem that they used to have, but we get this one here. I think it looks cool. I think it looks nice. But the biggest news for it is, at least in the US, not here in Canada, you get a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4 cylinder as the base motor. It makes 300 horsepower and I think the same amount of torque. I can't recall. But its base is going to be rear wheel drive. 4 wheel drive is optional. And you still have the 3.3 liter twin turbo 6 as an option. But that has a little bit more horsepower now, 368. So up 3 from last year. But what's weird is in Canada, we don't see the same updates. So we don't see the 4 cylinder. The 4 cylinder isn't an option here for Canada. We only get the V6. So our base price is a little bit higher at $50,495.
Yeah, I mean, I think the market here is smaller, and for kind of a niche vehicle like this, they can't really have as big of a product range. So if they are in fact shrinking the lineup a little bit here in Canada, I can totally see why. Especially with rear wheel drive, it's not really
In
a big
Canada,
seller.
it's only all-wheel drive, and it's only going to be the V6. Don't even get the rear drive as an option.
Mm-hmm.
You may think that in Canada it's priced higher than before because right now it's $50,495. Compared to last year, it's $45,000. But they dropped the base model. There's no GT anymore. You can only get GT Limited and above. So it's the exact same price, no difference there. And for some reason, all the press materials in Canada looks like they don't get the updated headlamps, and there's no like actual pictures of the back end. I'm sure we get the same like updates as the US gets, but there's no pictures. But the US site, you do have full pictures of that back, and I love the new rear end.
It's a bit more conventional, I guess, with the taillight.
Yeah, full width. I mean, I'm a sucker for full width taillights, as I said before. And the exhaust is a new exhaust system now. It's
They're
I believe there's a
huge. Those
variable.
tips are huge.
They are huge. We don't know if they're actual real or not. We'll have to get Matt Watson and his Carwow stick of truth to see exactly if those are real or not. But it's still a very attractive package, I think.
Show the picture of the rear wing on some of these models. I'm not sure which trim that is. I think it looks it's a little bit boy racer. It's not even that big of a wing, but it's like a shopping cart handle kind of.
Where did you
Uh,
see that photo?
it's the gray one. Gallery, I guess.
Gallery. Oh, I didn't completely missed that.
Yeah,
Let's see if I
I
can
think
find it. There's a deck lit
yeah.
spoiler.
Huh.
Oh, exhaust is fake.
Yeah.
You can totally see.
The inner exhaust. Yeah, they're really funky wheel designs on this. There
Oh,
you
this
go.
one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I, it looks a little bit out of place for me in this car. I'm not sure who's still buying the Stinger. It wasn't that big of a volume leader. There was no real segment for this car, but I don't know if people are still excited about it or excited enough to build or buy new ones, and for Kia to keep making this car. I think the Genesis, on the other hand, it has a broader appeal than the Stinger.
Well, the G70 is exact same as a Stinger, except it's a little bit shorter in the overall length, so it's
And
a
it's
little
not a
bit more
hatch.
nimble. But yeah, exactly. This is a hatch, and the Stinger has
Yeah.
usable rear seats, even though the roofline slants down. Like my money, I would get the Stinger over the G70, although the new G70 looks really nice.
I just saw one today. I think the one that looks like the Gentega. I don't know. Is that a G80 or
the GV80? Yes, Genesis.
no? The sedan version. I saw one today.
Oh, the G80. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It looks exactly the same as the Gentega, but yeah. I don't know. I think because this Stinger in like a decent trim is basically 60 grand. I don't know how many people are still buying it. Like they've updated the interior slightly. We've got a new infotainment,
You get
but
the new 10 and a
overall,
quarter inch screen.
yeah. But overall, it's. I mean, that's almost M340i money.
It's not 60, it's 51, even for top. Wait, no, 2020, 2022. Yeah, still, even with the suede package, is only 52 grand. With the limited, is 53.
So it's like a okay 330i, but like touching a 340i
A lot
in
more
terms of
power
price.
than a 330i.
I mean, yeah.
You get heated and cooled seats, which you definitely won't get.
Not at that price point, yeah.
Limited slip diff in the back. I mean, it's definitely a bargain compared to a lot of the German rivals, and that's really where they're going. But you're right. I don't believe a lot of people are actually, still in the market for this. Here in Vancouver, I don't see them around that much. I've seen one or two, and that's about it. It's a great vehicle, but not in overall sense. Like, I wouldn't mind picking on used after it's depreciated a bit, because you and I both know this $50,000 Kia, it's going to be $40,000 in 1 year alone. You're going to hit that
Yeah.
depreciation real hard.
Well, I looked long term and they're okay, I think, just because it's a low volume car. So people looking for it, they're still looking like specifically for this model. They're not shopping around quite as much. But I get your point. I mean, it is, after tax, that's a lot of money for this car.
It is, yeah. And at the end of the day, you still have just a Kia badge on the front. At least a Genesis badge looks a little bit better than this.
Yeah, the Genesis interior is nicer in my opinion too.
Yeah, there's something about these vents I'm not a big fan of. It's just too bulky here.
Yeah, that the swath of plastic going across, even though it's soft touch and whatever, it's just a little bit plain. It looks like the Audi, the A3, which
A3,
is not
yeah.
a nice. That's the least attractive Audi interior, and it's mimicked here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's sad. Like when I drove it, it honestly was one of my favorite cars. But I just don't think it's that competitive. Although it is still a bargain compared to German rivals, I just don't think it's that competitive.
Of course, and like look at an A7. I mean, or a S5 Sportback is going to be at least 70. So it's a big price jump. But it's this is one of those cars that's like, everyone wants to like it, and everyone does like it, but no one really buys them. And so, Kia is going to rethink this. Next generation, are we going to keep making this type of vehicle? Like the Genesis Coupe, that was another one that was so exciting when it first came out in 2010 or whatever. And where are we with Hyundai and Genesis rear wheel drive coupes today? They're non-existent.
Just not there anymore.
Yeah.
But speaking of bargain, we can move on to the TL Type S or TLX.
TLX
Type S. After a 13-year hiatus, the 2021 TLX Type S is back. They only got 2 photos here, but here's a headline. It's going to be about 60 to 70,000 Canadian dollars, 50,000 US roughly to start. You get a 3-liter twin turbo 6. That's 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. That's made it to a 10-speed auto with super handling all-wheel drive as standard. I mean, I had
Look
the
at this
regular,
versus the Stinger.
it's so that's the thing, right? This, looking at this and the Stinger, this is about $10,000 more than the Stinger.
Yeah.
Is it
But I
worth
would put my money on
$10,000 more?
this.
It's the same power.
It is. It's a nicer interior. It's a better look, like in a sense that I think this will age a little bit better.
But a Stinger is a true rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive system.
Yes.
This is just kind of faked a little
To
bit.
people that are buying these, it won't make a difference. So.
But if you're buying the performance version, I would think it may make a little bit of difference. But
yeah,
I just don't think they're cross-shopping it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I do like how they've stayed true to that Type S concept with the front bumper.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Type S, I mean, is always, that was like one of the like really sought after cars, I remember.
The 4th gen or 3rd gen?
Yeah, the one that everyone wanted with 6-speed manual,
07,
Brembo
08.
brakes.
Yeah, with the 3.5, yeah.
3 point, did they have some with
the Type S was 3.5.
The regular was
3.2. Yeah.
I had a regular one, so equally bad on gas, but a little bit slower. So
something I noticed on this picture is just the ride height. I mean, I get concept vehicles, it looks amazing. And you can't have a lot of that in production, but like there's just a massive wheel gap here on the front on this TLX. And even on the back picture, it looks the same. There's a massive wheel gap here on the front as well as the rear.
Yeah, that's something we're not seeing quite as much of anymore, and it's weird to see it on this car. That was something also. A lot of people commented on the new M3 and M4 that the wheel gap just got a lot bigger as well. It just makes it look weird compared to the old one, which just wrapped around the wheels.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's like pedestrian safety kind of thing.
Oh, so have it sunken in? No, but that's so offset is one thing, but lower it should be better for safety,
Because they have to, the hood line has to meet a minimum height now. That's why a lot of hoods you see it has a like kind of more butch type front end and have a higher center line. So when you strike the knee or calf or whatever is going to strike, people will land on the hood and not the glass.
I see.
But I like the rear end, quad exhaust on the bottom. Those look good, and that is real.
Yeah, and Brembo brakes, just like the old Type S.
Oh, those are very sought after as well. Us Accord guys would know how sought after those Brembos are. But yeah, the TLX Type S will be coming this year in May in the US and in June for us Canadian folks. So we should see some on the road. Is it going to be as good as like a 340? I guess only time will tell. But on paper, not bad.
I do hope the Type S name makes it over to other models like an RDX or I know it. Some people are going to be like, "Oh, that's watering down the brand," but realistically, how many of these are we going to see versus?
Well, the MDX is getting a Type S.
Okay, so not just the A spec or whatever.
Yeah, MDX. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're getting a Type S. Yes, they are. MDX Type S has been. It's the same engine as a TLX.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so we should see the Type S kind of fluctuate throughout the line a little bit. So maybe soon the RDX when that gets a refresh, but we'll see. I don't think they're going to put this engine in the RDX though. I don't think it'll fit.
Yeah. Where does this engine come from, anyways?
It's a brand new engine. This 3.5 liter or 3 liter twin turbo six.
Three
Sorry.
liter, yeah.
It's a brand new engine for Honda. It's not a J.
Honda does that? Like, for an engine company, like very renowned for their engines, they don't make a lot of new engines. Like K series, it's been what 2 decades now. Just keep refining it, and then J series, obviously. So I wonder what this is called. But is this the first model that this is going in?
Yes, from what I can understand, it is the TLX is the first, MDX is the second.
Oh, perfect.
I'm just trying to look up a little bit more information here to see if I can find that Type S motor, if it actually in fact is a J series, because as we know, J series has long been Honda and Acura's go-to V6, and they had 3 liters in the past, so it would make sense, but I can't find that information online right now.
Yeah, because even the NSX has a J series in it, but with turbocharging and hybridization to it. So yeah, if it is a new engine, I'm excited because Honda.
It is a J series.
Oh,
J30AT actually.
There we go.
Interesting. The J series lives on. My favorite engine.
Single overhead cam. Like,
don't worry about that part. That's just minimal information that no one really cares about. J30AT. Yep. According to Wikipedia, of course, that could be wrong. I can't find actual sources from Honda themselves.
Yeah, they're not like that open with that stuff. You kind of have to dig around.
Yeah.
Well, Wikipedia is the best thing ever. Anyone in the world can write anything they want about any subject. So you're getting the best possible information.
It may be a little inaccurate, but that's okay. We'll figure that out when time comes. Huh. Oh, anyways, I think that's really it for the TLX Type S here. There's not much, to it. But what I want to dive into is the BMW i4. The i4 is the new electric series, or a continuation of BMW's electric series. I mean, they had the i3, the i8, but the i3 kind of faded. Same thing with the i8. No one really talks about them. But the i4, this is very interesting. It's essentially a 4 Series Grand Coupe electrified.
Fully electric, so not some plug-in or anything like that. We got a big battery in there, 80 kilowatt hours. And unlike the i3, the naming scheme there, the i3 had nothing to do with the 3 Series. But the i4 is clearly a 4-door Grand Coupe, as BMW says right there. I like how the grills look on this. I think it works on an electric vehicle, just looks a little bit over the top, but there's no real need for a big grill. But
okay, so the problem with this that I have is the hood. It's extremely long. I'm thinking if that hood actually has anything in terms of like cargo capacity inside.
Right.
Because as an electric vehicle, you really don't need that much space up there. Teslas and basically any other electric vehicle, other than like the Golf and the Leaf and whatnot, you have a frunk. This is a huge area. But of course, there's no details on it yet, so we can only speculate.
Yeah, because obviously the proportions are built to take an inline 6 motor. Whereas if you look at a Model 3 or Model Y, it's got a very stubby front end, which is great for practicality. The A-pillar is moved forward. You got more room inside. It makes sense. But because this is being based off of a 4 Series platform, which, that has its own strengths. Don't get me wrong. 3 Series, 4 Series. Chassis wise, it should be pretty good. But yeah, really good point there.
Something I noticed about this picture is Of course, the battery, they have to put it on the belly, right? That's typical. But if we look at the sides skirt here, they use a trickery of this black kind of cladding on the bottom to make it look like there's
a little bit
less.
slimmer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can see how thick that is.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like a lot of electric vehicles, the rear seat legroom, or at least a foot room, is always minimal because of the battery itself. The Grand Coupe, being a Grand Coupe, it has a sloping roofline. So I'm just thinking, how much space would there actually be in the back seat? If it employs something like the Audi or the Porsche, where it actually has like a cutout in the battery for your foot, then it'll be fine. But I don't think, in the smaller platform like this, BMW is going to take a hit on the battery size just for your feet.
Yeah, and I think interior wise, we kind of know what the current generation BMW is like, but pricing wise, we don't know exactly. But based on the numbers that we're seeing in terms of performance and where the current 4 Series sits, just a normal gas version, this one's not going to be cheap.
No, definitely won't be. I mean, the performance, like as you were talking about, it's up to 530 horsepower. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's like, well, it's not M4 territory just yet, but is it actually? How much power
It's
does the
previous
M4
gen
have?
M4 at least.
Yeah.
No, it is M4 territory actually. G80 M4, because the old one we were at 460 on some of the higher trims, and the current one is 473.
Oh, so it's more. Okay.
Yeah.
So 0 to 100 kilometers per hour comes in at 4 seconds. So it's quick and it has a decent range as well. The 80 kilowatt hour battery helps it go about 300 miles, 480 or so kilometers in terms of EPA rated range. So it's decent. It's not like Tesla long range, but it's decent.
Mm-hmm. One thing I noticed is I guess a lot of electric cars is they're not really top speed vehicles, and BMW's always been, Autobahn and all that. And the top speed, the press release only says more than 124 miles per hour, which is not that enthusiastic, I guess. So this is not the BMW to get if you're looking to just rip it on the Autobahn. Get the regular gas version.
Yeah, even like a 340 will probably get to 155 no problem these days.
Yeah, I do like the shape. It's pretty conventional, pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good looking vehicle overall, but we'll have to see.
So far, it's the best iteration of this big nostril 3 and 4 series, I think. Maybe.
You don't like the new M3 and M4? No comment?
No comment. Yeah.
Well, moving away from sports sedans, let's talk about a big SUV. Jeep has shared. Oh, I'm on the wrong page.
This is huge, by the way.
This is actually literally huge news. This is the brand new Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. So this is a brand new platform. It's not shared with like the Grand Cherokee or anything like that. This is like from the pictures, it doesn't seem that big, but this is Tahoe size. It's actually bigger than the Tahoe, smaller than the Suburban, but it's bigger than the Tahoe.
Yeah, and it's we just got the Grand Cherokee L not that long ago, the 3-row version of that new Grand Cherokee. That one looks pretty solid, but this is full size territory, brand new frame, body on frame construction. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that from Chrysler in forever, or Stellantis now. It's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I mean, the Durango is a unibody. That's really the only other third row that they have.
And they're taking a huge gamble with this, but I think it's paying off. Like, if I was shopping for this segment of vehicle, this is like major consideration right here. Like, this interior is so impressive. They brought Macintosh back. Haven't seen that since like what LL Bean Subaru Outback.
The Subaru,
yeah, Macintosh radio. I didn't even think they were still around, to be honest. But there you go. Really nice leather surfaces, really nice wood trim, and just everything about this interior just screams expensive. Like, how many screens do we have?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be 7 screens, not including the rear view mirror. It's a total of 75 inches of screen inside this vehicle, and that's of course on the top range Grand Wagoneer. On the standard one, you're not going to get as much, but like this is not a Tahoe Denali competitor. This is a Navigator, Escalade, BMW X7, Mercedes GLS competitor. Because this interior, like the new Ram 1500, I often praise just how great that interior is. I forgot which media outlet. I think it was Edmunds. I could be wrong, but they said that it is the best luxury car for 2020, the Ram 1500, because it has an amazing interior for the price. In this, it takes it to another level. Like they have done a really, really good job here.
And it just has the exterior to match. Like, I think even it has presence, it has luxury. It's just a very handsome looking car overall. Compared to a Navigator, like Navigator, when that first came out, I did think it was pretty nice, but it didn't wow me. This wows me.
The Navigators age horribly.
Yeah. I like, we both talked about it pre-show, which was, this is really like a legitimate GLS competitor, and X7. Like, this is going to take some of that. Traditionally, weren't really looking at a American brand. And they're gonna look at this, I think.
There's a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, and even though this Grand Wagoneer isn't trail rated, it's massive. You're not taking that up the Moab or Mojave, whatever. But it is still kind of off-road oriented, in a sense that you've got 3 different all-wheel drive systems, standard mechanical limited slip. The higher ends get a electrical limited slip. But you don't even get those options on the Navigator or the Escalade, because those are just going to be pavement princesses. And this one, just to get to your cottage or wherever, sometimes you may want a little bit more of that off-road competency. And it's still a Jeep at the end of the day. That's the Jeep brand. They're not running this as a Chrysler, Dodge model. This is a Jeep.
So in terms of power plant, there's 2. The Wagoneer comes standard with a 5.7 V8. It's a tried and true V8 from them, 392 horse. In the Grand Wagoneer, you get the 6.4. That's 471 horsepower. As we know, I was going to say FCA, but Stellantis, they're going to shove that supercharged 6.2 Hellcat engine in here. They have the engine.
Trackhawk Wagoneer.
That's what's going to come to, or an SRT version. Like, I can see it. They have the engines, they have the car. It's one of those might as well kind of things. The engine that most people are going to look after is the one that's going to be up and coming. There's rumors, so this is 100% rumors, that there's going to be a 4xe version, so a plug-in hybrid of the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. And I think that's going to be kind of future-proofing that vehicle a little bit more. So you get the actual hybrid or electrical range, and you get, the functionality of a regular hybrid.
Yeah, and they're already bringing that 48-volt e-torque system is already on here, but that's not quite the 4xe that we've seen in the Wrangler.
Yeah. Oh, I should mention as well. Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, unlike Yukon and Yukon XL or Tahoe and Suburban, Grand Wagoneer doesn't mean it's bigger. It just means it's better. So think Denali over regular.
You know what I should call out though? It's not only unlike the Tahoe and Silver, it's unlike Cherokee and Grand Cherokee, Caravan and Grand Caravan. You know? So
Some
the
of our
naming is
listeners
confusing.
some of our listeners may not understand the Caravan and Grand Caravan segment. They killed that off a while back, didn't they? The regular size Caravan.
We're talking 90s, and I was driving one 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember. It's quite small. Like it was 3 rows, but like just like for kids.
Just enough for 3 rows, yeah.
Yeah. Before they really cared about putting child seats and everything, because it's just like 3 little bench seats. Yeah. That was only 2 years ago I drove that.
I'm very excited for this Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. Actually, I'm very excited about Stellantis overall. A lot of their newer vehicles have been really, really good. The new Jeep is the Wrangler. It's great. There's a lot of tech in it now. Even though it feels old school, it's like it drives a whole lot better than before. The Cherokee has been updated, or sorry, not Cherokee. The Grand Cherokee has been updated, and that looks really nice as well.
So nice.
I have the Durango booked. Even though the Durango hasn't been fully updated, they updated the interior bits and pieces, and that looks pretty nice as well. Like, there's a lot of good stuff coming from Stellantis, and I'm just super excited about what's next for this brand.
Yeah, I mean they're putting a lot of money into these vehicles, and they're super attractive. I just hope they hold up, because that's kind of always been their Achilles heel with Stellantis. Ram is not the most reliable truck you can get. You know, pretty much any of their products is typically falls on the lower end of reliability in their respective segments. So all their crossovers, Cherokee, Compass, Grand Cherokee. Yeah, they haven't been doing so well there.
You're not wrong, because a little while back I was looking at a Ram 1500 because I was fully into trucks and I wanted an eco diesel because it makes sense. Yeah, reliability reports are not great for it. Not great at all.
And it's like fundamental design flaws too.
Yeah.
Like, not even in a sense that like, oh, you might get away with it. No, this engine was flawed to begin with, the eco diesel. But you know, it's kind of scary, because it's like when you review a car, you get all these journalists reviewing them. You know, it gets good fuel economy, it makes decent power, it's quiet, check, and then recommend this car, and then you learn a few years down the road that, oh, okay, this maybe not
absolute
so.
Lemon.
Yeah, and you know, that scares me. Fiat, never known for their reliability. It's just, we're making this joke, because if you scroll down a little bit on Stellantis, those are Alfa Romeo, Lemon, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep. You know, these are not typically very reliable cars. But you know, you did mention a good point earlier, which was what are they offering as far as service for the Grand Wagoneer?
Yes. Yeah. So what they're doing here is, let me see if I can go back to that first.
I guess the important thing to note is they're looking to sell a brand new car to a luxury audience. You know, this is gonna be close to 6 figures, if not over.
It is over.
So they're not gonna keep these cars for more than 4 or 5 years. And so it makes sense what they're doing with this. It's just worry free, and just kind of, you know, ease some of those concerns that you have with the Jeep brand. You might have.
So for standard, the Wagoneer client service program is offered. You get 5 years of worry-free dealership maintenance that includes oil change and tire rotation, 24/7 concierge support with roadside assistance. There's vehicle pickup and delivery for service, and equivalent loaner is offered. So, if you have a 100K Grand Wagoneer, it needs to go in for an oil change. They'll give you another Grand Wagoneer for, a day or whatever it's going to
Yeah,
be. So you're not left without your vehicle. This is something
that
that,
is huge.
yeah,
We've
it's something that
seen it
Genesis
from,
was offering or is still
yeah,
offering here in Canada. But it's not something that a lot of manufacturers offer.
it's
Actually
not.
reach out to local BMW. I told them, like, hey, I was looking for a 7 Series. I need the car for work. If the 7 Series need to go in for service, something catastrophic, what are you going to give me? And they're saying, oh, whatever's on the fleet. And I'm like, what's the biggest vehicle that you have on the fleet? And they said that this is a big dealership here in Vancouver. They had only a few 5 Series, and everything else is generally 3 Series. They have a couple X3s.
X1s.
Yeah, they have X3, X1s. And then if not, they have a rental car service available.
Yeah, which I recently did have my M2 service, and I got two different courtesy cars. One was the X1, which I used to haul around wheels and stuff, so it was good timing. The other was the rental, which was a Corolla base model hubcaps.
Oh, perfect. So you
Yeah,
paid M2 money to get a Corolla.
yeah, and that's only because I knew the dealership. Because I went to the one here in Richmond, and they're like, "You didn't buy the car from us. You don't even get a loaner."
Oof.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is luxury brand stuff. We've seen Lexus has always been really good. I think Volvo is kind of moving towards this direction. Genesis, as you mentioned, Tesla has been pretty decent with that as well, but there's not that many models of Tesla. So I'm curious how they will pull this off, like the execution of Stellantis and Wagoneer, this luxury clientele servicing, because these service departments are not kind of geared to that luxury audience typically. Like
Right.
walking into, there's two pretty close to me. We have the one in the Auto Mall, and then there's the one in Minoru, and they're both not really like luxury oriented. Like you go in there, and that's like that's a car dealership. Like the
Yeah.
coffee is gonna be disgusting. Like
Definitely. Yeah, that's exactly like the same problem that Genesis has, right? When you have a Genesis, you need to take it in for service. It's serviced at Hyundai. It's not serviced at a
yeah,
Genesis dealer. It's just at Hyundai. But that's why they're offering like pickups, right? So that you don't have to go to Hyundai and see some guy that's picking up, a brand new venue for $20,000
yeah.
while you roll in with your $100,000 G90.
I can see the first year being rough for this because you're gonna get a few recalls and a few, typical, oh, we're back order on this part and stuff like
I,
that, and
I
then they're
like how
gonna
you're
run out
saying.
of loaners.
I like how you're saying it has to have a few recalls.
Plural recalls. Like it's gonna happen. Like we can put money on this. It's never not. I remember Jeep on the Grand Cherokee had a recall on a recall because there was wiring in the sun visor, and that would, I guess, eventually wear down and it would catch on fire.
Oh,
And
that's
then
not good.
they did a recall on that, and then apparently that recall didn't fix it. So they had to do a recall on that recall. And I think that sun visor lighting thing is shared on a few other models, but this is not recent, or not like, we're not talking about the 90s or 2000s oil crisis. This is really really recent stuff that they haven't been at the top of their game in terms of build quality and reliability.
No,
uh,
we definitely haven't. But, on the complete flip side of reliability, we can head to the next thing and talk about the Sienna.
yeah, that's our new review for this week. I just watched it yesterday.
Um, yeah, so brand new 2021 Sienna. I had a chance to drive this around town with my son. He's 14 weeks old, so he can't tell me how much he loves it. But as a dad, amazing. Minivans are the best. They are such a great vehicle. There's no one, you should never buy a 3-row SUV. You should buy a minivan. That's what it's come down to. The hybrid system works great. It's all-wheel drive. When there's limited traction, there was no problem. It was raining. I mean, I
Is there a
floored
trail mode though?
it. No, it doesn't have trail mode, so I can't go off trails. But the Sienna looks great. There's an XSE model, and if you get it with front wheel drive, it comes with 20-inch wheels that's blacked out. You get a very, very styled front bumper, and same thing with the back. It's a beautiful van. It truly is.
Yeah,
I'm in love with it.
I know you mentioned the price, and it's at the top trimmed. It's up to about $60,000, and I think it's okay, honestly, for that kind of money. You get so much utility for the money. Like, what else is there really?
Well, all vans are about the same price. It's all around the $60,000 mark when you really top everything out. You don't, of course, start off at $60,000. I think it's like 30. It's under $40,000.
Yeah,
for the
front wheel
the
drive.
Sienna. And, I
LE.
mean, if you're just looking for a family hauler, it's perfect. It really is. Like there are. This is the hybrid the hybrid minivan. You can also get the Pacifica as a plug-in hybrid, but just like we talked about, as a family vehicle, you may not want to risk those reliability issues, right? You know for a fact that Toyota's making hybrids forever. You see Priuses on the road, they have 1 million miles on them and they're still running. You know that they're going to be good. You know you're not going to have troubles with this.
Yeah, I have no hesitation at all buying a first model year Sienna. Whereas a Grand Wagoneer, on the other hand, is like, well, okay.
I'll give it a few years.
I'll let them iron out the kinks, and even then, it's like still wrinkly.
And something that I absolutely love about the Sienna is because it is a box. Every single box type vehicle, so like larger vans, SUVs, you generally get creaks and rattles because you just don't get that support like you do in a traditional sedan. But this Sienna didn't creak. There was no it felt stiff. So as you're driving, it didn't creak. It like over potholes. It didn't feel like it was unsettled. And that was one of the best things about it. The driving experience, while boring, it felt secure.
Yeah, that's not something to snooze at all. And I know sometimes they're very echoey. I know one thing with these drivetrain is the sound is a little bit annoying, like the grindiness.
Yeah, when you're flooring it, it doesn't have the best sound. But how many times are you flooring it? You're driving around town, you're fine. Yeah, when you're driving around town, you're completely fine. The electric motor provides more than enough torque just when you're setting off. But when you're on highway speeds, like cruising at 100 kilometers, and you want to pass someone, it's going to take a little bit more time because under the hood, it's just a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, we're down a little bit of power compared to the previous Sienna, which I think is okay. It's a fair trade-off. Every one of those old Siennas and Odysseys, they get close to 20 liters per 100K realistically. Like everyone that comes into my shop, I think a lot of time people just sit there idling too, right? And that's where the EV nature of a hybrid is going to be really good. Is you want to keep the AC running, you want to keep the music going, the entertainment system going for your kids, but you need to keep the car on. Having that big battery for the hybrid system, that's going to help with that a lot. I think you're going to see major savings. It's not just what is on paper on that, what the fuel economy cycle is going to say, because in the real world, that's going to make a difference. I think.
So real world testing, I average under 8 liters for 100 kilometers.
That's insane for something this big. Yeah, my friend recently went to the Costco here, and she has the older Sienna, 2016, and yeah, she, just like I mentioned, she kept it in accessory mode for her kids to watch whatever while Dad's doing the shopping, because they don't want to expose, it's a crowded place at Costco, so COVID. And then she came back, or he came back, and they needed a jump, and so I went to
Oh,
go jump them. And it's like because you need these things working. And yeah, I think the electric system is brilliant in this for that reason alone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I truly believe this is the minivan to buy. We talked about the Carnival a few weeks back. While
Mhm.
yes, that's like a luxury version of the minivan, it's still a standard V6. And the Odyssey, like we talked about, it's just boring. It hasn't really changed. Even the new one
Yeah.
just looks bland. But the Sienna, this doesn't look bland. This looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks premium. It's curvy. It's the Odyssey, like they've updated it, but I can't really tell the difference from like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shape, and it doesn't excite me anymore. And it's the same single overhead cam engine that we've seen for
Hey,
throughout the whole
why are you dissing my J35 engine? It's
because of the 20 liters per 100K
it's using the
real
new
world.
MDX kind of. It's
Yeah.
an NSX motor.
Oh God.
But
Yeah. So
yeah,
this is the van to get, I think. Yeah.
yeah, if it was my money and I need to get a van, at this point,
Do
I only
you?
have one kid. I don't think I need a van.
But
But
usually everyone.
I I must say it was super convenient driving the in-laws around and whatnot. Like having a van was great. Everyone was very comfortable in there. There was no problems with getting people into the third row. Whereas if we were in a
Yeah.
Highlander, no one will be comfortable getting into that third row, climbing into it. This was just
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, it's so nice, and I like the open feeling that you get with 3 rows of passengers riding. It's a little bit more like cozy
Yeah,
compared to a SUV. It's a little bit colder. Yeah, there is a great family feel with a minivan.
yeah. Well, I think that's really about it. Anything else you want to go over today?
I think we've covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching. We're going to end this episode a little bit earlier today just to keep the time down. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you guys have a
Thanks,
great day,
everyone.
and we'll catch you next week.
Bye now.